want to talk to you guys about a story time of what almost turned me either to a Catholic priest or a Catholic monk. Yeah, I had such an experience early on in my childhood, and it was very fascinating. The first one of this actually happens when I was a part of something called as Masolyani. It's still there now. Masolyani, it's like the youth of the Catholic Church. Teenage kids, man. It's just upcoming, yeah, upcoming primary kids and so forth. And so they adopt to, or they live to, a little bit of a high moral code. There's rules you're supposed to follow and so forth. You'll see them in the Catholic Church. They wear blue and white, and it's very dignified. It's very order based and stuff. And so I was part of that. The second one happens when I am part of a Catholic primary school. And so I want to tell you both these experiences that almost made me very interested. It did make me very interested. If I had gotten more information, maybe I would have been even more interested. But it raised my interest in either being a priest or a Catholic monk. First, let me tell you the one that happens when I am part of Masolyani. So as I explained, Masolyani, they are called Masolyani Akreste. I don't think it was always there in our parish particularly, but I think in the 90s, that's when it became a thing. I don't know when exactly this whole thing started, but in the 90s, this thing came to our primary, to our parish particularly. And so they are called Masolyani. So they are young kids who are being trained to keep up good morals, basically. It's a very good program, honestly speaking, to the kids there who sing, and you join the choir, you become the choir boys of what you would see, so, and all that. You're the ones who clean the church and all those type of things, right? A good devotion. But there were rules, if you violate the rules, we'll call you out. We'll call you out for it. Now, on TikTok, you'll mostly see girls' pictures, but there are boys in there. And I was one of those boys. I'm not in these pictures. These are random pictures of kids who are Masolyani right now because their parents maybe are part of the church. How was that? But you will notice something. There are kids with one belt, and you will notice that there's also kids who have double belts. The double belts are kind of like the prefects. You'll see them here. They have double belts and so forth. And so they would have these retreats. Okay, so they would be given these retreats, and these things still happen right now. Okay, the Masolyani till date, they still have these retreats and all. And the first experience happens when I'm there at this retreat. You are made to build a life of discipline spiritually, not just discipline in your moral way of living. Don't be cussing, don't be out there doing the most, all of that. Not just that, not be sitting with the wrong boys in the yeah, it goes that far, like, hey, we are seeing you there with the wrong kind of crowd, And so it wasn't just that. It was now building this life of spiritual discipline. This was massive for me. It was absolutely massive. And one of these retreats they had, it was at a school called St. Brendan's, right? And so St. Brendan's is in Limpopo and so forth, I think towards the Butokwa area and whatnot and stuff. So we went there. We went with our leaders, and I think I don't remember if my sisters went. I don't remember, but I remember that they paid a portion. Only paid a portion, and I think someone else paid for my food. And I remember very well. that particular part. And so, because remember, I was Mokamedi, I was one of the two belt people, you know, and I wanted to go to this trip. I wanted to go to these retreats and stuff. And finally, I did actually go to one of them. Like I said, you will notice that there's a lot of girls' pictures and so forth and what. You'll actually even think, is this a girls' thing? No, it's not a girls' thing. Is that maybe girls have more pictures online and so. So we went to this school called St. Brendan's in Limpopo. This is the school. I searched online and you can see November. This is around the times when they actually do them. You can see. And maybe that's why I kind of like remembered it now. So this was one where Masolyani went on a retreat. This was not long back. I think it's a couple of days back or so. So they went on this retreat. And so this is not just kids being there playing, but it tries to build a spiritual. It allows you to build your life around your spiritual walk. So now that I've explained that, they had this thing where around 5 would wake up or would be woken up 5, 6 o'clock around there, and you go to pray. Yeah, so I think it's about 6 o'clock. And so, but you'll wake up a little bit early, and then by 6 o'clock you are in the church, and then you go from church and you go over to pray. And my first one was right there. My first experience when I felt like I want to do that. I want to just be that person who just worships God. Man was there. And what do I mean that I was there? At that moment, you know, I wasn't the child me that wanted to go out and pray. At that moment, it was my first time looking at the front. So it's not like I saw a vision, you know, angels came down and up. No, it wasn't that. With nothing there, no vision, no light. There wasn't a light that came in or anything like that. It was just that beauty. You were praying the rosary, and we were going through the prayers and you pray the entire thing. You pray the entire rosary basically. And so the person leads, and then you take on the prayer. When we were praying there, I almost wished we didn't finish. You know? It was the first time. I had been a Catholic all these years and so forth and what and all that. But for the first time, when we were there, I'm a kid, I'm a child. Yes, definitely. But at that moment, I did not want to leave that church. It felt like, if you could have asked me all these years of being a Catholic, and so that moment there, yeah, I'm like that. This is what I want. This is now what I. And you know, the prayer ended. We went off. We went to eat, and you know, a little bit of play, and then there were other things that we went to do, activities and so forth. And then later on, I don't know, they had a teaching or a class. And then after that, we go back, we pray, and then you go back. You all go to sleep. But that day was all different. You know, the other days I had been doing it. I think it was like a 5-day retreat or something like that. And funny enough, that happened almost towards the end. I think maybe a day before we left, you know. So all these other days I was there. All these other days we were there. But until that day, that specific day, that's the first time it happened. And that was the first time I heard it. And, you know, because you're a kid, you don't think too much of it. It's like, yeah, you know, that's that. You go on. Life goes on. And so I remembered it now. But the second one happens when I'm at the primary school that I used to go to. And so at this primary school, we used to have people come. You know, we would sometimes, like for instance, we had a music teacher. He taught all music. He taught the guitar, he taught the flute, and how quick you progress through the flute will then dictate how quick you then can go to the other instruments. This time they brought someone who had taken a vow of celibacy. I'd been a Catholic. Now remember, already I had had that experience where, and all these things, funny enough, they happened towards my grade 6 and grade 7. So this one happens at grade 7. So Brother Tim comes through his class when we used to do Bible studies or Bible class. We had a Bible class. And when he comes to do the class, he introduces us to this man. And I can't even remember his name. The thing that stood out about this man is that others used to wear their rosaries on their neck, but this brother used to wear his rosary on his hand. So he had this unique rosary you could unclip and clip, and he would put it around his hand. After a while, I also started wearing mine like that. And he would clip his rosary around his hand. And they said he had taken a vow of celibacy. Now, I understood that because, you used to hear about it in the Catholic Church that there are people, our sister who do not get married. They stay single their whole life. But this particular person was not in service like our brother there, who just served maybe in a mission. No, but this man was almost like a monk, to a point where he even had taken a vow of silence to a certain period. So it was my first time hearing about that type. I was like, oh, this is extreme, man. His man had vowed not to talk, okay? Not complete silence. Is that there was a very long period of silence within his period and stuff like that. I can't remember how long the silence was, but celibacy, it was his whole life. He had vowed to celibacy all his life. And so, which is what you would call a monk, basically. So that was very new to me. So previously I had seen this element of being in worship and so forth. Of course, it's Catholicism, the doctrine, But that was the first time I had had this feeling of, this is what I want. I would want to do that. But then now I'm seeing this other angle of Catholicism where there is people that are just devoted to doing that. So both this experience just brought it to this interest, and it built this interest in me. But because maybe you're a child, you just don't really think about it. Now when you're older, you kind of wonder, did that actually lead to where I'm sitting right now? Like my desire to want to talk about God and all those things, apologetics, my interest in apologetics, did it come from all the way back there? Because those two experiences, they stood out in all my primary years and so forth. I might forget a lot of things, but those two, I don't. Those two experiences, I do not forget. I wanted to use this as to show our interactions and the emphasis of our interactions with people. Our interactions with people can legit influence. You don't even know. Those people, that particular person, he was just there. He spoke what he didn't speak. They were talking for him because he was quiet. I'm telling you, I cannot remember that brother ever speaking. But just seeing him there, they said, this man has vowed to be quiet. I was like, what? Our interactions with people are so important. Not necessarily what we impress upon them, but what we impress upon them based on what God wants out of them. My experience in that, when I went to that Masolyani thing, it's that moment where people, donated money, my family paid portions of it, but then There were other people that paid. Because I remember very well that there were other people that paid. And I think it was my leader at the Masolyani care. Contribution led to me having this side of wanting actually to worship God. You could have said, you know, no, you know, they brainwashed you. That was not a brainwash. At that moment, I actually wanted to. At that moment, even if we didn't go out, even if we don't have to do anything. At that moment, I wanted to sit there and pray Ave Maria the whole day. Experience, and also for all these people who, they see visions, they do what, they saw an angel, he told them, and so, they mostly like to speak down on people that don't see visions or anything like that, because they self-prioritize what they see. And we, hello, how are you? You are fine. Okay, thank you. We are glad you are listening. Listen, even the experiences we have apart from visions are as valid as can be. These two experiences actually show you that we are choosing. At every level, we are choosing, truth or otherwise. We are choosing to listen or not to listen. We are choosing to worship or not to. For me, it was those two moments when I heard about this guy. He's taken a vow. Yeah. His brother has taken a vow. Hey, people do that. The second one was this moment. It's a specific. We had been there, I think, for 5 days of that week. We had been there for for a couple of days. I don't remember how many days you went to this camp for. But for all those days when we went to morning prayer and what, we are just there doing the motions. But that one day, when I looked forward and we are praying this thing, up until 2009-10, when I actually became born again, that song, Ave Maria, rang up in my head all the way through, because it was something that I can literally look back now as a matured person, and I can say, that sparked something there, but at that time I might have not been able to say that. So our experiences are very important. What are we impressing upon people? What do we, when we appear, do people just see your suit? Do people just see how nice you look? Or do they just see how, this person worships God? Do they just see you? They actually don't see how they are to reflect that. We want to be careful what we impress upon people when it comes to our faith. It's Ricky. Thought that was worth something. And I'll see you on a later on episode. Other episodes done today will be down in the pinned comments.